Spiritual leadership. Leadership is defined as the capacity to lead or the act or instance of leading, and spirituality is defined as the quality of being concerned with the human spirit instead of material or physical things. Merging those two concepts is what is defined as spiritual leadership. Spirituality is often confused with religion, although they are two distinct things. Religion refers to a specific set of beliefs, traditions, and practices, and spirituality refers to a broad set of principles and ethical beliefs that cross all religions. The theory of spiritual leadership stems from the idea that a more holistic approach to leadership was needed in the fast-paced society in which we now live. Spiritual leadership integrates the four fundamental areas of human existence, which are the physical body, the logical and rational portion of the mind, the emotional and feeling aspects of the heart, and the spirit, which is where our deep-rooted beliefs and values reside. Spiritual leadership incorporates the needs of the leader and the follower to have spiritual connectedness, which once obtained causes the person to become more organized, committed, and productive. Louis Fry, a management and leadership professor at Texas A&M University, defines spiritual leadership as compromising the values, attitudes, and behaviors that are necessary to intrinsically motivate oneself and others so that they have a sense of spiritual survival through calling and membership. Fry states that this is accomplished by creating a vision where members can see their purpose and know that they make a difference, and establishing a culture that is based in love, kindness, integrity, empathy, honesty, patience, trust, and humility, and where a culture of caring and appreciation causes a sense of membership, understanding, and appreciation within all members. There are many facets to the spiritual leader. The spiritual leader must exert influence while being careful to not be critical of others around them. The spiritual leader is responsible for encouraging others to move from where they are to where they want to be, being accountable to a higher authority, trying to influence everyone around them, not only an immediate few, pursuing the best agenda for others, not themselves, and being a visionary. So what does all this mean? Well, spirituality involves relationships between yourself and something larger than you, including the good of your employees, patients, and community. Spiritual leaders have typically and historically been associated with religion, but Leland Kaiser, a professor from the University of Colorado who teaches leadership to physicians, states you can be spiritual but not very religious, as well as religious but not spiritual. Kaiser states spiritual principles should form the foundation for all institutions, whether they are public or secular. Although he states it is not appropriate to teach religion in non-church settings relating to organizations, he says it is always appropriate to encourage spirituality. The leader's personal spiritual beliefs are not relevant and could create controversy regarding support for a particular faith or religion or a single potential source of spirituality. According to David Camp, the administrator of Family Support and Rehabilitation Services at the Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago, leaders do not necessarily need to claim spirituality, but they do need to understand themselves as contributing to the overall wellness of the whole of which they are a part. Mr. Camp, who is also a Protestant minister, says the essential focus of spirituality, and therefore spiritual leadership, is not what one believes in, but rather how one lives their life. He states that one may proclaim God or spirituality and live a godless or spiritless life. A true spiritual leader should live their life with meaning, value, and purpose, which relates to the common good of all. Patrick Sweeney, a professor in the Department of Behavioral Sciences and Leadership at the United States Military Academy, states the theory of spiritual leadership has been tested in diverse organizations, which include secondary schools, universities, military units, city governments, police, and for-profit organizations. Results from those studies indicate that spiritual leadership positively influences employee life satisfaction, organizational commitment and productivity, and sales growth. Many larger American corporations such as Chick-fil-A, Forever 21, and In-N-Out Burger have incorporated spiritual leadership into their workplaces. By demonstrating respect, treating others fairly, expressing care and concern, listening, appreciating the contributions of others, while engaging in spiritual practice with values such as integrity, ethical influence, honest communication, and humility, leaders are more likely to become prominent in the market in relation to customer and employee satisfaction and shareholder value. According to Patrick Sweeney, spiritual leadership emerges from an interaction of the leader's vision, deep caring for group members, and hope and faith. Mr. Sweeney says leaders who form compelling visions based on serving a higher purpose while fulfilling organizational values gives members direction, inspiration to achieve worthy objectives, and gives meaning to their work. Organizational spiritual leaders must do everything they can to make each employee feel part of the community of the company. When employees are given the opportunity, they will gravitate toward what gives them meaning and what engages them to the fullest. When a spiritual leader shows deep caring and concern for their employees' development and promote their well-being, this fosters trust and enhances employees' motivation to perform. Leaders who are optimistic and provide employees with expectations of a brighter future, both in their personal lives and the organization, motivates the employee to perform and transform themselves while bolstering their commitment to the organization. Spiritual leadership in the clinical setting requires leaders to implement practices that nurture and respect the four needs of human spirituality, which are to be unique, to be in union with something greater than oneself, to be useful, and to be understood by others as well as to understand how they fit into a greater concept. Effective healthcare leaders do this by challenging the process, inspiring a shared vision, enabling others to act, modeling the way, and encouraging the heart. The Catholic Health Association of the United States, along with other researchers, conducted a major study of outstanding leaders within the Catholic healthcare system. Their study found that the most significant factor contributing to outstanding leadership was a deep personal spirituality. This strong core of spirituality allows leaders to achieve greater effectiveness by combining positive human interactions with a highly analytical intellect. 5 graduate nursing students in Iran conducted a research study among nurse managers and staff using Fry's spiritual leadership theory. In the field of spiritual leadership in nursing, vision was shown to be an essential feature that the leader should have to create motivation in themselves and in others so that individuals can enjoy spiritual well-being through the feeling of meaningfulness at work and a sense of community. When choosing a nurse leader to lead the organization into the future, one should ensure each nurse leader has the following. Number 1, knowledge and expertise, which includes being up to date and first in everything, even minor tasks. Number 2, wisdom. The leader should be able to analyze situations quickly and determine a solution in the shortest time period possible. Number 3, a plan to achieve their goals. Number 4, a spiritual purpose. The leader should have a vision and a goal, whether that involves pleasing God or to reach satisfaction, peace, hope, and patience. And number 5, a desire and ability to enable the nursing team to achieve their goals. The findings also showed that spiritual leaders should provide a vision for employees so that they know where the organization plans to go. When leaders in the clinical setting are practicing spiritual leadership, everyone will be positively affected, including the patients which are being cared for by the staff. If the staff is shown love, compassion, and empathy, they are more likely to show those same traits to their patients and family members. The staff will also be equipped with the knowledge to help foster spirituality in their patients and communities. It has been said that Reverend Billy Graham was perhaps the most significant spiritual leader of the 20th century. During his 99 years, Billy Graham preached in person to more than 100 million people and to millions more via television, satellite, and film. Christianity Today states that Billy Graham proclaimed the gospel to more people than any other preacher in history. He participated in presidential inaugurations and spoke during national crises such as the memorial services following the Oklahoma City bombing and the 9/11 attacks. A Scottish minister who observed Mr. Graham said that his first impression of the man up close was not of his good looks, but of his goodness. It is said that Billy Graham was the model of integrity, and that despite scandals that toppled other leaders and ministers, in 6 decades of ministry, no one ever leveled a serious accusation of misconduct against him. Billy Graham is said to have never been vain or taken credit for any of his success in life. He always praised the higher power he served. Mr. Graham was unfailingly modest about himself and lavish in praise of others. He always treated ordinary people and lowest level staff workers with great respect and dignity. He never accepted money for speaking engagements, and most of the millions of dollars he earned in book royalties he gave away. He always treated his antagonist with generosity and kindness. Many times Mr. Graham would arrange meetings with his worst critics, and nearly every time his humility, transparency, and genuineness would cause a change of heart towards him. Billy Graham embodied every aspect of a true spiritual leader. He encouraged others to move from where they were to where they wanted to be. He was accountable to a higher authority. He influenced people from around the world, not just in his community. He pursued the best agenda for others, not for himself, and he was a great visionary. So, in conclusion, leaders who employ spiritual leadership make their workplaces more fulfilling for all employees, enhance productivity for their organizations, and inspire visions for the future. Spiritual leaders in the clinical setting promote an environment of security for patients and employees alike. The greatness of an organization will be directly proportional to the greatness of its leaders, and great leaders are spiritual leaders.